Toga, 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 toga,
Hello, welcome to Billy Ho Sports. This is going to be the betting strategy show for the Grade 1 American Oaks at Saratoga tomorrow, Saturday. I'm also going to touch briefly on the Shuvee, but we obviously know there's only 4 horses in that race, or technically 2, to be honest with you. But just real quick before we get started, both the Grade 1 Haskell Rascals are out for me. The preview show is out. Check that out. Plus the betting strategy show with the 4 other stakes races, you know, the United Nations and Monmouth Cup and Molly Cup and all that good stuff. So be sure to check that out. Appreciate that very, very much. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I so appreciate it if you have. Just want to thank everybody for all the support, and really means a lot, honestly. So smash that like button, leave a comment. Let's get started. All right. American Oaks is 1 1/8 miles on the dirt at Saratoga Raceway. And I've kind of altered my opinion. There's some Kentucky Oaks runners in this race. And I'm not taking into account as much as I used to on the Kentucky Oaks itself, because it is kind of a unique race, sort of like the Kentucky Derby, but 14 horses. And that's really just a really, really large field. A lot of these horses don't face that many in the field, and that changes things some. So anyway, we're going to start with number 1, South Lawn, Norm Cassie, trained, ridden by Florent Giroux. And she ran 10 in the Kentucky Oaks, but she was within 5 lengths of the lead, turning for home. If you watched my previous video, I actually have a preview video out. Also, I failed to mention that for this race as well. So take a look at that, and you'll see that she got caught wide into the final stretch. And I can excuse that, but she has been off since that race. So still a little unsure. 9-2 morning line seems like a pretty fair price. So I will pencil her in for a piece. And then we have Wet Paint, the 2-1 favorite, morning line, trained by Brad Cox, ridden by Flavian Pratt. She was beaten in the Monomoy Girl Stakes. If you saw my previous video, I showed you that. Beaten by another horse in this race we'll get to in a minute. Beaten favorite in the Kentucky Oaks. Her 3 wins are the 3 in a row she had were all the 2 of them were grade 3s. So the 2-1, I mean, I get it, but it might be a little bit overvalued. I'm not 100% sure. It feels that way to me anyway, just from the results and the 84 speed rating for the Monomoy Girl. And she got the 95. I mean, if she runs anything better than a 95, she probably wins this race. So I suppose that's reason enough to have her in your pool. So Sacred Wish is up next, the number 3 horse, trained by George Weaver, and will be ridden by Manny Franco. You know, she did win in the muddy or run well. I'm sorry, in an off track at Belmont. But if we were to have that kind of weather again, I might consider. But I don't think so in this one. Next up is Gambling Girl, trained by Todd Pletcher and ridden by Irad Ortiz. Those 2 alone ought to put them square in your sights. Highest speed ratings by far, back-to-back 98, second place finishes, beating a neck in the Kentucky Oaks. So looking good here. I'd like to think that she is winless in her 3-year-old campaign. So is this the time? I'd like to think so. So anyway, she does have the best speed figures, like I said, of any in this field. Definite. So who's your filly? Is next, trained by Tom Amos, ridden by Edgar Morales, the runner-up in the Black-Eyed Susan, and the one that beat Wet Paint in that Monomoy Girl race. I think is square in the mix here too. But does she have the speed? You know, her best speed figures are just cracking 90. So she is going to have to improve on that account. But I mean, winning on the front end. So, you know, Definite slow pace favored the front runners in the Monomoy, so that's part of the problem. And then and I believe Wet Paint got just too far back and on a slow pace and just didn't fire. So you could probably toss that race, honestly. But the 91 did have a plus, an honest enough pace that she ran second in, brushed at the start, and rail, and she was game in that one. And that was the Black Eyed Susan, like I said. She ran hard, just got beaten in by Taxed. So definite in the mix as well. And if you watch the previous video, I didn't really have much to say about She's Looking Lucky. Matt Shearer and Kendrick Carmouche up 90 speed. I mean, she did win this 100K with some good speed, but and that was on the slop, mile and an eighth. But would really have to take a major leap, I think. So I don't. She's out of my exotics. And on a side note, Darth Vader did not enter this race. Believe will be pointed toward the Grade 1 test on August 5th. So now we are going to go check out the betting calculator. And we are just going to pop up a quick exacta here. I've narrowed the field down to the 1, the 2, the 4, the 5 as the main contenders. And so there's two different ways I'll probably go about doing this. I'm not really sure exactly how I'll get there. But, the 2, the 4, and the 5 are the three my main winners. And then I'm going to throw the 1 in on underneath South Lawn. So that's going to be like a 3/4, which is a $9 wager for $1. Or I may decide that Wet Paint is overvalued and take her out of the win column and maybe get a little bit deeper and pump up the volume here and see if I can't get a 2 or 3x payout on the exacta. So that's kind of where I land there. Now, to finish things up, just a brief touch on the Shuvee. Just 4 horses, like I said, entered. So I might maybe think about a win bet. I don't know what the odds are going to look like. I probably will just be a spectator for this one and see who's going to win. Is it either going to be Clariere or Nest? Nest has been off since the Breeders' Cup Distaff last fall. Clariere has been winning and running hard lately. So leave a comment and tell me who you think is going to win between these two. Or do you think one of the other two will steal the show? So anyway, gun to head, I'd take the horse that's run most recently, Clariere. But that's just where I land there. So thank you so much for watching. There will be much more. We might do a recap, or we might just plow right on through and start looking forward to the Travers coming up and other type stakes races. And then, we always got a Breeders' Cup down the road. So until the next video, thank you for watching. See you soon.